What is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo, Senior Editor here at Koalition.com, and I'm back again with a brand new unboxing and impressions video. We're going to be looking at the Nintendo 64 Anthology from Geeks Line Publishing. Now, if you didn't know, we did one for the PlayStation Anthology not too long ago on the Koalition YouTube channel and our website, so big shout-outs to Geeks Line Publishing for sending us the N64 book, but this one's going to be a little bit different than the previous book we looked at. This is going to be a collector's edition version of the book. Unlike the PlayStation 4 one that we did beforehand, this one comes with a cover and a few little extra things that we're going to take a look at in just a second. But as you can see here, the N64 Anthology, it's a complete look at the Nintendo 64's lifespan as a console, as well as all the different history and other things leading up to its development, and all the cool games and collectibles that are associated with it. So we're going to take a look at this book here right now. So as you can see here, this has a sleeve for the N64 Anthology that we saw beforehand that I just showed you guys. Here's the actual book itself. Looks very chic, has that red, red coloring to it, again, associated with the N64, even though really the N64 was more associated with green and red and yellow, I believe it is, for the original logo. But it's got this kind of, real stylish, kind of like real hardcore look to it, where the PlayStation book was more blue. This one's more red, associated with Nintendo, so that's pretty awesome. But as we're going to look here just a second, I just want to make sure we get this good on camera, so we go look at the book itself. As a matter of fact, this might actually be a little bit better. I'm looking at the camera, make sure I can show you guys the pages and stuff, and I'll probably bring it up to the camera as we go along. So first things first, as you guys can see here, with the collector's edition of the N64 Anthology, we get this beautiful print for one of the final battle scenes for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's really, really awesome. The artist's name is, was it Orito? I believe, I'm not sure if this is like concept art or if this is an original piece, but it looks freaking awesome from the very last scene, or the very last battle of Ocarina of Time when you're going up against Ganon. Spoiler alert, if you haven't played The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you should have done so by now. But here you go, it's very beautiful. I'm going to probably at one point get a frame for this and probably put it on my wall, or maybe put it someplace where it won't get messed up. But either way, there's some more other stuff, we'll get to it in just a second. Let's take a look at this book, take a look at the inside of it. Publisher Certificate of Authenticity, pretty awesome. It's number 315 out of 1,000, which is pretty awesome. You get one of these every time, I believe, when you get the collector's edition of the books from Geeks Line Publishing. Let's keep going here. We got a foreword here written in the beginning, very similar to the PlayStation book. Then we obviously got our table of contents, which has a whole bunch of stuff. We got a complete listing of all the games. Again, it's a little hard to see with the glare here, but a complete listing via alphabetical order of every single game that was released on a Nintendo 64, as well as also, again, on this page here, we have a listing of interviews, we have hardware listings, and a complete compilation of all the accessories and special editions of the Nintendo 64, as well as also collectible items related to the N64. Here we go. We also got another forward, I believe it is. This one is by Glenn Michael Plant, as well as also who's from YouTube. He's actually got a YouTube channel, so we'll get a little plug there for youtube.com/Glenn Plant. And then also we have Manette. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Manette. Manette. I apologize for pronouncing your name wrong, but he's the author of this book. He also did a forward here. It's got a nice, cool photo of him. Looks pretty nice overall. But again, I'm going to start skipping over certain sections. Looks at hardware prior to the N64, the origins of it. The N64 came in the wake of the big deal that was kind of botched by Nintendo that was supposed to happen between Sony and Nintendo themselves to make the Nintendo PlayStation. After that didn't go through during the 16-bit era and the 32-bit era, things kind of broke down, and we ended up getting the original PlayStation, which is what we talked about last time, and then eventually the N64, which decided to stay with a console, a cartridge-based console, rather than jumping into, Laserdisc or CDs at the time. Then it gets into more of special effects back in the day. I'm trying to get to when the console was first revealed here. We've got some looks at some arcade stuff, things right before the N64's development. But here we go. This is what I remember back in the day. The Ultra 64, which the N64 was originally known as. If you probably remember some of these magazine covers or any other stuff, when the promotional material came out. I remember when the posters came out for the Ultra 64 where it had that same logo and had a whole bunch of other stuff related to it. But let's continue on. I believe there's another page here. Then obviously the prototype for the controller, a black version of the controller. Maybe I could show this to you guys. A black N64 controller that just had black buttons. Didn't really have that color scheme from back in the day, but let's skip ahead more so to some of the other cool things here. Again, more different colorful stuff. I believe now we get into the time when actually it gets to release. I believe it was during Shoshinkai, which if you don't know what Shoshinkai is like the Japanese version of E3. It's a very big Japanese gaming show that used to happen back in the day. I don't think they do it anymore, but this is where the Nintendo 64 was really first demoed, really first shown. It was a big, big deal back in the day, especially during the time when gaming magazines were really, you know, the big source of information. Getting images and, you know, info from Shoshinkai was a huge, huge deal, I remember. Then we got some of the Nintendo Power and Edge magazines, covers, all these different stuff. It's pretty awesome seeing this now, looking back then, you know, at the excitement that was associated with the N64. But overall, as I go through this book, again, I'm trying to show you guys some of these Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time covers. This was a huge, huge deal. I remember seeing this in like the corner store deli on the different shelves. That was like pretty awesome. All this stuff is really, really crazy looking back at this. And again, I love looking at some of this historical context, especially for consoles that I love. I love the N64. I still have mine. It still works too. We got a whole bunch of other games here. Then we start getting to the GameCube era. Again, starts mentioning the GameCube where we start talking about like Pokemon Stadium and obviously Smash Brothers. Then we start getting into some of the other peripherals like the third-party stuff, which is pretty insane. Again, look at this IQ control, the IQ player. Pretty damn weird, right? Like, insane stuff. But now I want to skip over, again, start to get into more of the, like, really in-depth, like, ridiculous stuff that was associated with this console. Then, I believe, yeah, okay, no, this is the actual game listing. Let me go back a few pages just so I can show y'all. Again, just, so you know, so we can take a good look at this. Back up here. Oh no, remakes and reboots. Okay, so no, these are like different remakes and reboots that were games on the Nintendo 64, but ended up getting a re-release on later platforms. That includes like the Xbox One, not the Xbox One, the Xbox Original for some of the rare games. Also, a lot of the other games that appeared on the Wii, 3DS, mobile. Whole bunches of DS. I remember this. The DS, it was a big deal because Super Mario 64 obviously was one of the biggest games on the Nintendo 64, but it got like a definitive edition on the Nintendo DS, which is called Super Mario 64 DS, where you got to play as Yoshi, Luigi, Wario, and Mario as well. And that was pretty awesome. So let's keep going here. Again, we want to get more into the nitty gritty. The hardware is where we really care about this. Look at this. This is such an awesome page. I believe, I don't know if this is like a stylized promo or a concept art drawing of the N64, but whatever it is, it looks freaking dope. And for N64 heads out there, I'm pretty sure you're going to love this. Look at this. Anybody who remembers this remembers the craziness of Nintendo's like special editions and like alternate versions of the N64. All the different color SKUs, all the different promotional material that was associated with this. The Hey You Pikachu edition that came in like multiple versions, so you guys could see there. It was a big deal back in the day, especially in the late 90s to early 2000s, where Nintendo had this big like fix on customization, as well as also just, you know, expressing yourself and having different alternate versions of their consoles. And then we had the same thing also with the controllers, you know, besides also the console themselves, because they sold them separately, even though you had the special edition like bundles, and then you had the special game edition bundles that came with different color editions of the console itself. I remember having this specific one right here, the limited edition Toys R Us one. Maybe I could bring that up to the camera, and I can't really see it that well because of the focus, but this specific one I have. That's the same exact Nintendo 64 that I got that came with the special edition gold controller for the N64. I never got the gold console itself, but I had the gray console with the gold controller, and that's where I stemmed off from. And I think I still have that box somewhere around, you know, my house in storage someplace. I still have it. But overall, here's the motherboard of the N64. Pretty damn freaking cool to see that. And now we start getting to other stuff, I guess, into like more variations of the controller itself. Again, look at all these controllers here. You don't see this really anymore. I mean, you still got variations of controllers on like modern day consoles, especially with the third-party peripheral companies, but like first-party, look at this, man. This is the type of Nintendo that I love. Like, this is real hardcore Nintendo. I mean, man, look at this. I believe this is a third-party N64 controllers. I don't know if this was during that heyday or later on, but again, look, even this, like a third-party, like, I believe this is a plug-and-play, right? Yeah, this is a large. No, this is for the internet, like some other like third-party stuff that's like back in the day. I got to read up on that, but again, crazy stuff that you could see here. Now we start getting into some of the packs. Again, you got alternate versions of the packaging for the different versions of the game, for depending on the regions. All the Super Mario 64 versions, again, from the very start in Japan through US, Europe, and I believe a greatest hits. Oh no, Australia, correction. Australia. Then we got the controller pack. Everybody remembers the controller pack. It came either down to the PlayStation 1 memory unit or the N64 controller pack, and then eventually the VMU from the Dreamcast. Those are our controller memory units from back in the day. And then all the different packs and like adapters and stuff for the N64. Absolutely insane. The Rumble pack, the expansion pack, the transfer pack, the damn TV. I believe this is the TV adapter that if you had like an actual auxiliary input for your TV, you could change it, I believe, to a 3-color cord input. I believe that's the same thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the RF switch. That's what it is. And all this different stuff. It was insane, the amount of peripherals. And then all these other different things that just gets absolutely ridiculous with how much tech that was available for the N64. Again, unofficial stuff and then official stuff as well. Then now we get into the game library, which is now... We're going to skip over this a little bit more so, again, just to speed up this video because I know we're going long. We have all the different games, you know, from A to Z listed on here to show you guys my very first Nintendo 64 game. Again, as I'm skipping through this, again, they got different color polygons and different stuff related to the games, you know, with their listing and their descriptions. Forsaken 64. Anybody that knows about Forsaken 64, give yourself a pat on the back. You're old school. You're original OG gamers out there. Hey, let me show you guys my very first Nintendo 64 games that I have with my console. When I got that particular Toys R Us edition of the console, and we got to go all the way down to T, to S and T. Oh, even before I get to that, with the collector's edition, because of the 20th anniversary of the N64, this version of the book comes with a bookmark. So unlike the PlayStation one, which only had the ribbon, just to kind of like, you know, mark off where you're looking at, this one actually has a bookmark, which is pretty damn cool. I like this. I appreciate little things like this, you know, especially for special edition books that are, again, coffee table books that are related to stuff like that. But let's go all the way to T and S. I have my first 2 games that I ever had on the Nintendo 64. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it here on YouTube, on the Koalition YouTube channel. But was one, the original Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, as you guys can see here. Again, it's got a very small listing, but again, this was a big deal to me back in the day, being a Star Wars fan. There was a number of Star Wars games on the N64, as you guys can see here. We got Pod Racing. We also have Rogue Squadron, which is a huge, huge deal for Star Wars fanatics back in the day. But the other game that was a big deal, that was my very first game on the N64, and again, I love how it's got a big page devoted to it. Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Let me see if I could get that up there. Again, a little bit bad with the focus, but Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Look at this. Turok was a huge series on the Nintendo 64. It was a big, big deal on the platform. I believe they had about 4 games. They had about 4 games on the N64, all of which I still own, and all of which I played. Again, it's a huge, huge franchise. They redid, I think, the original Turok for PC not so long ago, gave it some modern control, little adjustments here and there, which is very cool. If you never played Turok Dinosaur Hunter as a series, the original one on N64, you definitely should do so, because it really kind of helped pave the way for a lot of FPSs during that time frame. Don't get me wrong, Doom was a much more important FPS, and I believe also Duke Nukem was also on the N64, which was another bigger deal, but Turok was a huge, huge franchise on this platform. I had a lot of friends back when I was living in New York that used to love playing Turok Dinosaur Hunter. And then you can't talk about the N64 without talking about the number of wrestling games that were devoted to this. Again, it was a huge, huge deal. So many wrestling games. Big highlights of that era, obviously, WCW NWO Revenge, which I don't know if you guys can make out the images here on the camera, but that was probably the best WCW game on the platform. They had a couple of them, including World Tour, which was, I believe, the first one to actually use that engine. And then when, I believe it was AKI and THQ. Yeah, AKI and THQ, when they jumped over to, to work with the WrestleMania or WWF, they had WrestleMania 2000 and WWF No Mercy, which WWF No Mercy, arguably one of the greatest wrestling games on the Nintendo 64. So pretty sure anybody that owned an N64 knew about those games. It was a huge deal. Then you got the disc drive. You got a whole section devoted to that. All the unreleased games that never came out here in the States or really weren't released. And then you have all the canceled games, which is very similar to the PlayStation book that we looked at before. All these different games. I can't wait to look through all this when I get a chance, because I love looking at some of these older games, especially hearing, stories or reading up on stories about games that what could have been, especially for a platform like this. And then the last thing we're really going to look at before we kind of wrap this up, we're going to look at some of the different collectibles that are on here. Again, similar to the PlayStation book, the N64 had a number of collectibles and special editions and other coveted items for the platform are related to some of the big games, especially Nintendo first-party stuff. So you see here clocks, alternate controllers, posters, walkie-talkies, stuff in other areas of the world besides the United States and Japan. Very, very freaking cool here. Just looking at some of this stuff. Very nostalgic. Look at this. Smash Brothers. Look at that. Look at alternate stuff for Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Star Fox. Very, very cool. I love this stuff. So let's keep going here. Again, I think that's pretty much just about it. Then it's got a general index of all the games. Then the average. This is the stuff that really is awesome to see, because some of these things, I'm pretty sure if you're a fan of the N64 or old retro gaming consoles, some of these things here and there you probably have never seen before. The promos. I remember some of these promos. Again, not all of them, because some of them weren't here in my, in my region, not here in the United States. Oh man. Can you imagine being hyped up for this? The worst game, or one of the worst games on the platform, Superman 64. Seeing this, getting hyped up, and then getting the garbage that you got that day. Oh man, that was an ordeal. And then seeing all these promos, War Gods. So anybody that knows anything about War Gods, pat yourself on the back for me. Got all this different stuff, promos for Star Fox, F-Zero. Man, I can't wait to really look through all this stuff. This is crazy, man. This is really hype. This is hype right here. Look at Rogue Squadron. I remember this. This is a Japanese version of the promo. Here, let me make sure I got the camera. This is a Japanese version of the promo, but I remember reading through Game Informer or seeing the English version of this. It's, again, super, super freaking hype. But either way, guys, that is the Nintendo 64 Anthology from Geeks Line Publishing. Let me put this back in here so I can look through it later. I'm going to show you guys again here, put it back together. That's my thoughts, my impressions. This unboxing, again, even though it's not really unboxing anything, of the Nintendo 64 Anthology from Geeks Line Publishing. Let me know what's up in the comment section below if you guys enjoyed this unboxing video. If you guys want us to check out any other books that you guys could think of, or any other products that we could feature here on the Unboxing and Impression series, let me know down below in the comment section. Don't forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the Koalition's YouTube channel for all our videos related to unboxing videos, podcasts, interviews, gameplay videos, and commentary, all that good stuff that you guys love. I will talk to all of you again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.